Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So, today I want to talk about something that a lot of businesses face. It's a struggle known by many, and that is feeling as if you have a great product or you have a great service, and it's just not getting out to enough people. You're not receiving the feedback or the mass hysteria or going viral in today's world like you want. And so, what do you do? Because sometimes, I've had these feelings before in my business. And the dangerous thing, what you don't want to do, is to succumb to those feelings, and like attracts like. So the more you start having those thoughts about your product may not be good enough. I think it's good enough, but maybe it's not. More thoughts to reinforce those are going to come along. So what do you do to avoid that? How is it that you can get in front of more people so that they know you exist and that you're a possibility for them to come and do business with you? So today we're going to be speaking with Miss Jessica Foreman of the Saute Kingz. They run a catering business here in the state of Florida, and they started out just like you, but they've grown their business to a physical location. They are working on their food truck, and most recently they were just featured as a competitor on the Food Network's The Great Food Truck Race. So we're going to hear from her on exactly how they established their business, the challenges they overcame, and how they made a name for themselves to where they were able to be on a national platform. Stay tuned and let's talk to Jessica. Thank you so much, Jessica, for agreeing to talk with me today and share some information about some of the successes and the most recent success that you guys had. I guess let's start off by telling us who you are, who your family is, and what you guys do.
All right. Well, I'm Jessica Foreman, and my husband is Chef Count. We are called Saute Kingz. We are a local family-owned catering and street vending company here in Daytona Beach, Florida. And we have actually been in the culinary industry, meaning working it since, actually I met my husband in a restaurant since 1999. And then we actually started our own business. We did private chef, but we're really known for our street vending aspects that we did. We started in 2007. We started a live saute station on the corner of 2nd and Keach here in Daytona Beach. If you're not familiar, that's the same street where Bethune-Cookman is, just a little further south. And we started as a street vending company. We started doing live cooking in front of our clients. So all of our orders were cooked to order. And we did chicken, shrimp, steak, and they pastas, Alfredos and Scampi. And they know my husband as the Daytona Pasta Man.
Daytona Pasta Man. And I have had the privilege of having you guys food. When I actually met you it was at some church, and there was some type of competition that we were at.
Yes.
And yeah, it was delicious. And the one thing that I really loved about it was you had your sons there, and it was like a real, family business, and they seemed to love cooking as well. So it wasn't like it was something that you guys were pushing on them, but they really loved it.
Yes, and what we did is when we started street vending, so it was like around 2007, the end of 2007, 2008. My kids were still young; they were 5 and 8, and it was mostly in the weekend. So what we did is, we brought our kids with us. We taught them how to set up. They used to wash dishes. They would take orders, and then over the years they would do this with us. And we would pay them. We would pay them. Sometimes they wouldn't get paid because hey, listen, when they got older, got a little expensive.
Yeah, you just here right now, just as a chore.
Yeah, exactly. But most of the time they did get paid, and they knew the importance of it. We were trying to show them like, hey, this is a skill. You might not want to be in it, but think about it. We're in Daytona Beach, Central Florida. We're a huge hospitality state, and most of the time. At that time, a lot of places, especially, going into restaurant serving, they want you to have some type of experience.
Yes.
And what better way of us teaching our kids what we knew, what we had to go, our trials and tribulations, just working in the field.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And speaking of those trials and tribulations, so like you said, you started this when the children were young. So sometimes people like it's enough just trying to raise them, but you're building a business at the same time. And now they're like almost, if they're not grown, they're almost grown, right?
Yeah, my oldest is 22 and my youngest is
Ah,
19. Jashawn, the tall one that was on the food truck race, so
gotcha.
he came with us, so he was my youngest.
So during that time of developing the business and growing it to where it is now, are there any, or is there any challenge that you could think of that you guys went through, any growing pains that you went through, and how did you address it and overcome it?
Yes, actually, when we first started, again, 2007, think about it, that was in the middle of a collapse, of a
Mm-hmm.
housing collapse, going into a recession, almost typically, almost like how the pandemic.
Yeah.
We were working in a restaurant. We were both working in a restaurant. I think at that time, Chef started going to Daytona State. And, I'm gonna be honest, all of a sudden we noticed our hours are being cut. At that time, I had my own business. I had a cleaning service and concierge service. So I started seeing the shift where was a lot like hours being cut. People no longer they're tightening their budget. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want to spend money. So then I was like, okay. Then my husband finally, his job tried to give him a promotion, but he was like, when he started looking at how many hours he has to be compared to the money he was going to get salary, he was like, it's just probably better if I did my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we started street vending. And to be honest, we did it because it was a way for extra money. And at the time, no offense, there were, banks were not giving out loans, or they gave out so many loans with the housing and things are starting to collapse. Interest rates started going up. If this is starting to sound familiar into
Oh
the
yeah.
2022. So we
Yeah.
were like, we were like, we're desperate. We was like, we have to do something drastic. And we started selling. Another way was to have some exposure at that time before social media and YouTube started getting really, really big as it was. Think about 2007 was face to face. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people. So we started being out there on the street corner selling our cuisine. A lot of the time we started with very low capital. Everything we made it. I'm being honest, sometimes we had to flip that rent check.
Yeah.
We bought an equipment here, we bought a tin here, a charcoal grill here. We knew we had, okay, I think our rent was, at that time, our rent was $900, believe it or not.
The good
And we're
old
like,
days.
yeah, the good old days. We had to take that $900, and we're like, well, how we're gonna make it into $1,800 or $2,000, just so. And then people not understanding at that time, we had very minimal equipment. So every time we made something, we doubled our money. We bought more food. We bought another piece of equipment. We constantly expand,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, it started making people aware of who we were, because now they're seeing us on this corner, and it was like a high traffic area. It's a neighborhood, it's by a college too. So, now people are starting to interact. But I will say at first it wasn't easy, because no offense, we were the new kids on the block. So
You
a
were
lot of
the kids on the block.
Yes, we were, meaning in our area, a lot of places at that time had soul food restaurant, fish fries, barbecue. We didn't offer that, and then we're not, we were young. We were like in our 30s, we worked in the restaurant industry for so long, but when we were offering pastas. And I remember, at first we were giving samples away. Because, we're new, like everybody's so used to their own vendors on the Ave and their own restaurant, Bethune Grill, we was down the street from Bethune Grill, so they're used to their people that they've been eating off of. We're new, and we're like, okay, so we were giving samples. We would give samples in the barbershop, people at the light, people down the street, people walking on the corner. We'd be like, here, try our food. At a couple of times, we were giving more food away than we were selling. But I knew our food was flavorful, and we've done this in restaurant. We cook the same meals that we cooked in corporate restaurants, establishments,
Yeah.
out at
Yeah.
Cheesecake Factory. You know, this is not nothing new. It's not new cuisine. It's cuisine we go out of our neighborhood to pay at a sit down location. Now imagine us in the front doing it to your order. And then once people started tasting us, I mean, they started coming
Yeah.
to us, you know?
And you had to give them that first taste. And that's a little secret too, because a lot of people, they want to start off immediately like, no, you got to pay me. But sometimes you do got to give them that little sample. You got to give them a little hit of it to make them want to come back,
Yeah, you're right. And you're right.
Yeah.
And no offense, I think, sometimes it's hard. It's hard being a street vendor. I'm not going to lie to you. So, you're outside, you got weather conditions, I get it. Me and my husband is from New York. I grew up north too in Connecticut, but that was the norm up there. The norm is
yeah.
you got the hot dog cart, you got the Knish guy. Sometimes you go to that little juke joint with the pizzas. It's outdoor eating was the thing. Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Yeah.
Just here, we're introducing that, just like food trucks. Food trucks over there been a thing. Now it's just being a thing all over the United States, and especially here in Florida. Now you're seeing it more popular. But as of right now, that was our way, to be honest, to raise capital and to get our food out to the public.
Got it. And mentioning that, you guys were not originally from the area that you're in now, and you come from somewhere else. So it sounds a little bit like you may have experienced somewhat of a initial lack of support and awareness. And you always hear people talking about, you're not going to get support from friends and family and all that. How did you guys deal with that, and how did you turn it around?
So
because you're very well known now.
Yes, we're known now, but at the time, I've been in Daytona long enough, meaning like I went to high school here and stuff, but I'm not born and bred. I'm not born and bred. I didn't go to certain colleges and things like that. And my husband really is not from here until he met me. But you're right. To us, it was more customer service. We treated everybody that came into. It didn't matter who you were. We didn't, Joe Flo or Jane. We didn't care. We treated everybody with respect, and we gave them high quality food. You're right. I had some really friends. I had friends that did support us. I had a friend that let me borrow a tent, when we first started, because we didn't have a tent. We would just kind of tell. Sometimes I will say this. Even when I had clients and I was trying to tell them I'm gonna have a restaurant one day, and some people be like, oh yeah, like brushing it off, like, yeah, you are, and then I was never ashamed. I say this now, I started as a street vendor. I mean, we started as we had a lot at the time adversity, because what we were doing in Daytona wasn't really permitted. In a sense, there in Orlando, you have things like a peddler's license and different things where you can get it. And they have little areas where you can sell, flea markets. And even then now, it was a little more restrict. But we took a chance. We took a chance because at the time on the Ave, during that period in 2007, there was other people that were doing it either in church properties or, down the street. We see them like pop up their tents or doing the fish fries at the church property. And I was like, well, what if we did the same thing and offer it to the community? And I always say that the community, when they start seeing us, they like the dynamic. It was me, my husband, and my two boys. We gave free samples. Some people will come and talk to us, and some people like literally will pull out that lawn chair, the little chair, beach chair, and sit there all day with us and chill. And then we started getting neighborhood kids. So neighborhood kids started seeing us cook, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And they would ask us for jobs. They would see my sons, and they're like, well, how can I be like them? And I was like, well, come around. My husband used to be like, come around out, you pick up some trash, around the area. I'll give you some food, or, I'll give you some money. And then sometimes we'll hire a couple of them to be with us, be at our food stand washing dishes. And then
Yes.
we started getting a following with the kids. Like, my husband became that, we would have parents call us and be like, oh, such and such is coming. Can he be with you for a couple hours? And he was like, that's fine. We was like, he could come and stay with us, and we'll
Oh,
teach him, we'll
nice.
look after him. So, then we started getting that type of reputation as, we were like the people's people. How can I say,
Yes.
that's how I feel customer service was. And then later on started social media,
Mm,
trying to
got it.
get my social media up. But even before social media, food competitions, local food competition is another way to get your name out there.
Mm.
You
Like
see,
any little thing that you can find, whether how small or how big. Because you guys were just recently on the Food Network. Is it called the Great Race?
yep, it's called the Great Food Truck Race.
The Great Food Truck Race. And so like that's huge because now you're in front of all 50 states and probably more. I'm
Yep.
guessing. So that has to do a lot. Like that pushes you into a whole nother like level at that point. Now, how do you think, how were you able to get on that show? What do you
Well, a
attest
lot
them
of
to?
the like most of the time when I tell people, even when I was starting, I looked out for I scoured the internet, social media. I look for any competition, big or wide, even national TV. So sometimes you have to Google, and Google's your friend.
Oh yeah. I
Google is
call
your
Google
friend.
Bay. I call Google Bay.
Good.
My kids ask me something, I say, go ask Bay.
Exactly. If I'll be like, sometimes when my kids ask me, I'm like, baby, you gotta go Google it. You're right.
Mhm.
Google is really your best friend. And I started Googling how to be in a reality show. I Googled that, how to
Yeah.
be in a reality show. Then you start seeing a lot of articles pop up. And then I swear, I scrolled the internet. I read every article. Some people, and then sometimes they'll give you a casting link, or sometimes they give you a casting website. And then you just have to do your due diligence and then go to these website and then see what is coming up. A lot of the times, a lot of these shows, they're in production. They do the application. For instance, if you need to start doing applications now for maybe next year, for 2023. You see, because
Yeah.
they do go, and there is a process. And the same for like when events, food competition, locals or small. I go on social media, I go online, I look at certain groups, and then you start seeing like, hey, we have this competition, and to be honest, it is about Googling, and your social media is just scouring, taking the time to read, try, searching. Sometimes I remember when I first started, and I actually applied for the Great Food Truck Race in 2017, the end of
Oh,
2017, and I
4
didn't get
years
a
ago.
word to 2018. Yeah,
Wow.
I got denied 3 times.
Hey, that don't matter though.
Exactly. And that's why I try to tell people, sometimes you can't, just because you get one no, you got to keep going to the next level.
Yeah.
You got to, maybe it's not that your time, you can't
And
give
maybe,
up.
yeah. And every
you know
no is closer to that yes. So sometimes you have to look forward to the no's, look forward to, okay, good. Okay, so I got to get through 10 no's. I got 1 down, I got 2 down, I got 3 down.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes it could be a million no's, as long as, I'm being honest, I believe in myself and our product.
Yes.
That's the thing. And I don't know, to me, for the first time I felt like, at one time America wasn't ready for us. I don't know, we was like, we are we're not very conventional. I can say that I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't conventional in the way we started our business, but
Yeah.
we stuck to it, through, we done been through, oh my gosh, we done been through the
Consistency.
collapse, we've been through the ups and the downs, we had highs, we had lows, even trying to find a location. When we finally found a location, our first location was literally, it was another catering bistro style kitchen, which is mostly like a prep kitchen. And
Mm-hmm.
literally it was like almost a 2-car garage. Literally,
Hmm.
I kid you not. It was, but I try to tell people we had to start from the ground up. We never mind, we never mind. I'm a realist in my own way. I can't afford, I wish I could, and hopefully that's in my future, is owning my own building. But at that time, I couldn't afford that 3,000 square foot
Mm-hmm.
area decked out, but it allowed me the small garage. And then, like all the greats started in a garage, from Steve Jobs, Amazon started from a small
Yeah, I was
space.
gonna say everybody started in the garage.
Thank you. That's how we did.
Yes.
We started literally in a garage, but it
Yeah.
allowed me to make sure I had all my articles, all my business in
Yeah.
order, so I could do more things. It costs to be in business. A lot of
It
people,
does.
that's
And
the reality.
I think social media sometimes makes people think that if they're not doing it on some larger scale, and sometimes the things that people are looking at, or these companies are looking at, they're actually not that large of a scale, but their online presence makes it seem that way. But social media can be intimidating for some people and make them feel like if I'm not there yet, then I'm not going to even do it, or I'm not good enough, and they just give up. So that's a good thing that you could learn the lessons from that and stay consistent all the way through, until it happened. And there's going to be more coming. I'm so sure. Like, so now here's the question.
Uh-huh.
How was the experience? How has it changed your business now that you've been on the
Well,
show?
I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so when we got on, it was a little surreal. But I've watched the seasons before. This season was a little bit different. I wouldn't say it's more, we're real cooks. Let me say that.
Uh-huh.
We're real cooks and foodies. This season was a little bit, we had some really great teams. I don't give that, some great personalities, but then you had some other ones that were there. You could tell they're there for more of the drama action. So, but my experience of it was, hey, we got to be in LA. We got to be in California. I know
Wow.
my food is comparable. It took me 5 years to get on the show. I was very persistent. My husband, I'm the one that does all the writing to the shows and pitching and constantly, my husband is the one that he formulates the recipes and get things in order. And my son is a quality control. We call him quality control. So he has
Mm-hmm.
input on recipes and different things. So when we got out there, believe it or not, California, LA is the beast, the mecca of food trucks. There
Wow.
is like nothing of it. They got 4,000 registered food trucks. And not just food trucks. Every other corner, there's a taco stand, a horchata stand. There's somebody selling Mexican. It is a foodie
Mm-hmm.
capital. And to be amongst the present of your fellow, even the commissary. When we was going to the commissary, oh my! I never seen a commissary as huge. I mean, as that one. And then
Wow.
and it was on Slauson. So we were, we were
Mm.
there was some areas we've been before, but there was areas we got to travel that I would have never imagined. The coast of Laguna is beautiful. The
Wow.
beach, it's the people, and there is a California vibe. There is a California vibe. I can tell you that. They take their food serious and they take their health serious. So certain things, we changed because in certain areas they're not used to, a lot of butter. They are really,
Health
they are
conscious.
glam.
Yeah. You
Yeah, they
got.
are health conscious. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. I'm not gonna, we even got to be on the Hollywood Boulevard where all the tourists and the stars are. And, it was an experience that I would never forget, be honest. If I was to do, my family, who we are in real life is who we are, on TV. We're not with the drama, certain things they want you to be liven it up, or you feel like it's a setup. It's just to give it the factor. I know everybody's watched reality shows and some, but at
I
the
know
end of the day,
they gotta push a narrative. Other, what you gotta keep people watching. You gotta throw a little wrenching though sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. And then sometimes, but I guess, this is our first shot, being naive, for real, being naive, we're about the food. We're all about
Yeah.
the food. I could care, when, just like, when two boxers go in the ring, they have to block out everything around them. Their main focus is what?
Is
In
the other
that
the
ring and
opponent.
using their
Yeah.
skill, using the skill that they know so they can win. And that's how we were. We're not about, I didn't even know, sometimes we didn't know what was going around. We just do like, hey, we got this food, we got to prepare this is how we're going to do it. You see what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes
Yeah.
even in life, because if you go around looking at all of social media and living your life or trying to be going under somebody else's expectation, you're really going to miss out on what you really got to do. Because sometimes, no offense, I can't live, I want to have a huge establishment, but right now it's not in my cards. So I have to play the position that I have to get to that location, to that dream of mine.
Yep, you're on the stage that you're at. Now, you
Yes.
guys have a physical location now that you serve from.
Yes.
Got it. So I know you started off as a street vendor. What prompted you to get that set location? What inspired that?
Well, I'm being honest, I got really, really sick in 2016. I was sepsis, and I was like literally, on my deathbed. And when I finally, I had to take almost like 5 months to recover. But I said something to myself. I said, I cannot, I got to now take the step from being a street vendor to being an established catering. Like we can no longer play. Like meaning we got to take a leap of faith and put all our chips in. And however the chips fall, they're going to fall. And that's exactly what we were doing. So while I was recovering, it took me a couple months, but I was going on the newspaper. I was going online. I was looking at real estate companies. I was calling a real estate company for commercial kitchens, anything that I could get my hands on that came vacant. I was even calculating what can I afford, what can I not afford, what is within reason, how much time if I get this place, like I literally sat there for months, and that, because I couldn't do too much. That's what I had to do, which is sit there and focus on finding a place, my calculations. And at the time, to be honest, we didn't have a loan at that time. It was more like, okay, we're going to get our income tax money. So now we got this money. So let's try to put down first last security, invest it. And not to be funny, but, I didn't invest it on anything else. As much as I want to go out, go out and spend or go on a cruise or have a vacation, I was like, no, we have to invest this for a location. Because once the location comes, we can be a legitimate, meaning like now we have an actual place, people can come, we can do consultations, we can be in certain, we can bid on certain contracts, you see. So now once we got that space, it didn't matter how it was a catering kitchen. Once we got it, we was in there.
And I'm sure you can focus more now on the actual cooking and everything than, we got to set up, because the setting up and breaking down is a lot. I'm sure that having that either that storefront location or a food truck, you don't have to set up. It's already set. You just got to show up and get in the kitchen. But that sounds great. So it sounds like there's a lot of things that you did that a lot of people miss sometimes is, like going back to the network, the food show network that you were on and getting the storefront. You didn't wait for them to, like, a lot of people waiting on somebody to call them up or discover them, like they discover a model and I'm just walking in the mall and they just call my name. You have to do the work. So a lot of times people are sitting back saying, no, I ain't ready for that yet, but you really are ready. You just haven't put the work in, that extensive market research, and then plan it out, and go by those steps. So it sounds like you did all the work that you needed to do, and that's why you were successful.
Yes. And even now I'm trying to build my presence on social media, because right now, and me and my husband had this conversation. Right now, you see a lot of I hate to call them this, but you see them a lot of Instagram chefs, or they
Mm.
get or TikTokers, and they do their little videos and stuff. That's fine and dandy, and it works for some people. But think about it, it's not working. There was just an article about TikTok saying that how many of us are not getting our due recognition for TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody else are stealing your move or culture, and they're doing it, and they're getting all the likes, they're getting all
Yeah.
the exposure. And
Yeah.
that has been, there's articles about that. Also, have you noticed lately, also a lot of big companies are looking into social media, and they're just replicating what we're putting our content
Yeah.
out.
I mean, that's
So
honestly, that's all anybody does. It's just it's a replication, putting their own skill into it, putting their own twist into it. But I don't see anything new that I've seen scrolling.
exactly, and you're right. And sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing. I see the same, but but there is, that's what we're trying to learn too, is how, especially on YouTube and stuff like that, to get the recognition. We now got some recognition. A lot of people that we never, they're reaching out into our emails like, oh, we saw you in a great food truck race, and y'all was a kind family, and y'all was about the food, and then they saw the pictures of our food, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And those are our pictures, not Photoshop. It was not
Yeah.
taken from, not clip art. It was our stuff that we did. So people are like, oh wow, we love the appearance, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
we could taste it, they could taste it, and we try to be genuine to our craft. It
Yeah.
really was, we try to be really precise at what we did. Also, we try to give good customer service. Like I said, I don't, even in my real life, I'm not here fighting or arguing or putting nobody down. Do I have my opinions? Yes, I do. But I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, it's not here to bash anybody. I want to, how I felt, being honest, we run a lot of the restaurants in this industry.
Mm.
My husband has ran many restaurants. He has worked in many, chain restaurants. When you see
Yeah.
us, when you go in every restaurant I work, I love the melon. I love the Spanish culture, especially in Orlando. We're, the Haitians, we're running every culinary aspect in Disney, outside of Disney.
Mm.
We're the behind the scenes. And I remember back then when I first started in the 90s, it wasn't that many Black managers or Hispanic managers or kitchen proprietors, and sometimes, working in corporate, you really, really dedicate everything to
Yeah.
make another business successful. And I'm honest, I said, what about if I took that same energy and focus on our own business?
That's it. That's the key. Putting the same drive into it, and not just in the producing of the product, because that's secondary. Like
Yeah.
your first priority is to get people to know that like what was that Dr. Seuss movie? Horton Hears Who, and then
Yep.
all the little ones were down there. We are here. We are here. That's kind of
Yep.
what you have to do when you're starting out. So your main job is to get the word out, so that they will even see you as an option to shop from. And you have to assume and wear all of those hats. And thankfully, it's a family thing that you guys got going on. So you got your role, he has his role, son has his
Yep.
role, so you guys can do that. Sometimes when it's just one person, you got to bite the bullet and do everything. You got to do all
You're
that. You
right.
got to do the marketing, you got to do the cooking and the baking, you got to do the customer service afterwards, you got to do the market research to see which direction you're going.
Yep.
So there is a lot that you have to do. But if you are going, like you said, if you're going to dedicate all that time, or like you said, your husband at one point when he was given an opportunity, okay, am I going to spend 40 to 60 hours working hard and focusing on doing a good job to make this company rich, who's already rich?
Thank
Or am
you.
I going to put that same time and effort into making my family, growing my family as well? And he made the right decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and it's very, when the pandemic started, I felt a lot of people had got the chance to say, hey, the pandemic happened, they shut down this restaurant, they shut down this job, or they cut or they put me on furlough. So it gave people to really explore what they have to do, eat from
Yeah.
selling apples, canned strawberries. I mean, all sorts, even making masks, sewing. It
Oh
just
yeah,
gives you an opportunity.
I bet, and I know, because I know here in Florida, some businesses was backed up. All the businesses got started in these
Mhm.
last 2 years.
You're
Oh
right.
my
You're right.
goodness,
I
all the
remember trying to get
LLCs
mine.
were formed. Yes.
And
Now,
uh-huh.
oh, go ahead. I was going to say, now, if you had to give one piece of advice, with everything that you've learned, everything that you have, that you know now, and all the experiences you've had, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone, either who's already a caterer or who's looking to maybe start it, what would that one piece of advice be?
I'm gonna be honest, my one piece of advice is never give up. And
Mm,
always, and I always try to tell people, always make sure you have your paperwork in order. I don't care,
fun.
paperwork. I've said this, a matter of fact, I said this to a young lady this morning before our call. I said, what happened is a lot of the times, even if you don't have a restaurant or you don't have, your paperwork is not in order.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even trying to go for these PPP loans are different. If you don't have your LLC, if you're not registered, if you don't have even
Business
insurance,
tax receipts.
business tax, you're not gonna get the help. And it does
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, especially doing events. I say, like I said, I was a street vendor. I've
Mm-hmm.
had my way of being a street vendor. I got my license. Like I said, my first business was a concierge service. So I made sure I had my LLC. I made sure, and then under my concierge service, I had other personal things like private chef and things like that. So I try to tell people that's when I incorporated my husband for his business as a private chef, but that allowed him and then give him insurance. That allowed us to actually, we were licensed as a business and had insurance to do events
Yeah, because
because
that they look
we
for that. That's one of, and that's a lot of sometimes a roadblock. Like you said, if you don't have every single piece in check, then an opportunity will come up, and but oh my God, great! And then you get to the fine print on that application, and it's like, oh wait,
yep.
and you may not have time to go and get it. The opportunity is gone at that point.
And you're
Yeah.
right. And even with and sometimes even with these companies that for the food shows, you have to have, they want to have pictures, they want you to have things ready. Did you get your COVID shot? Did you get your booster shot? Do you have this? They're gonna ask you, I mean, I kid you not, they're gonna ask you like 100 questions. And
Mm-hmm.
when, it's almost like a job application.
Yeah.
They want to
Yeah.
know where you worked, how long you been. You got food pictures, you got selfie pictures, and sometimes they want professional pictures or something in your jacket, so things like this, I always tell people, please, if not, it's an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
If you can spend, look, liability insurance, if you get it right. I was just telling somebody I pay maybe $50 every month for a whole year,
Yeah.
maybe $600 minimal,
Mm-hmm.
right? That $600, you're gonna make that 20 times or 100 times if you
Yeah.
have all your articles in order, because it's gonna open up doors that you thought you would never get into.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You see people, blow, $50 at McDonald's for, or what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So
Or
you
Uber Eats with
exactly.
for 2 meals on at Wendy's for $50.
Thank you.
I spent it. It's me. I did it. I didn't know why. It was late night and I was hungry. And
But no, you have built your business, your brand, and the sacrifice. Some
oh
people,
yeah,
sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow. People don't want to hear it, but at the end of the
yeah,
day, it's the truth. Unless you
yeah,
have money like that,
yeah.
but I always tell people, if you do have money like that, I just always tell, make sure everything's up to date. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
your insurance never lapsed. Make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's. Make sure you have everything saved in one file so you can click and send it.
And go to it real easy.
And go to it, and all this comes with practice. I mean, trials and tribute. I mean, I didn't learn this. This is not, nobody gave me advice. Nobody taught me. This is stuff I had to do, trials and tribulations.
Yeah, you
There
had
was
to
things that,
stumble through and then find out. Oh, now there are resources out there, like this interview. Like you'll be told about this stuff. It's just on you to actually go and do it. Once
that's
you
right.
know about it, and not look at it as, oh my God, but this is just part of doing business. It's not like a job. You just got to show up and then your check's going to be deposited because you showed up. You got to do some things. You got to spend some money to make the money.
You're right. And,
Yeah.
sometimes, and then sometimes, I get it, especially now with inflation. It was the same. I was traveling at that time. I was traveling. This is during, the Bush years. And I was like, I remember $5 gas. I was living in Palm Coast and I was traveling to Daytona back and forth every day.
On $5
every day with $5 gas. So trust me, and $5 gas, we're almost close to it. I swear to you, I was spending almost $40 a day going back and forth between certain areas. And then sometimes I had to drive to New Smyrna. So from Palm Coast. So you see, there's our sacrifices that we have to make ourselves if we want to see our business flourish. It's like kids. You got to invest in your kids. You got to love your kids. You got to nurture your kids. It's like the business is the same as a child. You got to, sometimes, it goes to the left. You got to bring it right back to the right, And I always say reinvent yourself, because sometimes we have to change with the time.
Yes, that's true. You can't get stuck in that idea. Well, this is how I do it. No, you have to give your customers what they're accustomed to now. If you can't just say, all I'm taking is cash because I don't want whatever. Well, everybody's used to tapping their phone real quick or tapping that card real quick, and nobody has cash in them. So you have to go with, how are they used to being served right now? Even with the app. I mean, we're going back to Uber Eats and all that. We're used to just pushing a button and the food showing up at the door. So how can I make that easier for them? So it's just about getting creative and going out there and meeting them where they are and serving them. So there's no excuse. There's no, look, I got this for you. I got that for you. Now what's the reason?
And that's the thing, because even us, this year I got the tablet. We're going to put our upload. We're going to be on DoorDash or Uber Eats,
nice.
or Grubhub. So we got certain things. So that's what we're even doing. Our style, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people be like, well, Jessica, why y'all don't have any hours? Unfortunately, I'm still running my shop as a pop-up. And it's not that because I'm a caterer. So sometimes we do things during the week. Certain times I have my calendar, it's already booked on certain days. When I'm not catering, then that's when I'm going to be in the restaurant. We are trying to hire and now even us, we have to, my husband touched every plate. Every plate. Since we've been on 2007, he has touched from catering. My son's helped with the prep, and my son's actually, my oldest, he actually does the lamb chops, the lobster, the salmon, the fried. My son does that aspect. But to be honest, my husband has sauteed every single plate. Wow. So now we are in that process of hiring people and having more of we have to now kind of incorporate the brigade system. A lot of people don't know what the brigade system is. It's almost having almost like when you go to Chipotle, you see them, they have certain people, they got the steam table, the line and stuff like that. And one person is scooping. One of the things was my husband's very, very on it. He is like the Ramsey. He like quality control. Some people say our food tastes the same like when we was on the app. Yeah. Because he's touched everything. He has a way, he knows his seasoning, he knows his portion, he saute everything. And he have changed certain things, but that's what he's known for. So now we're almost at the point where, hey, we need to be a production kitchen. We need to make sure that we have all our sauces, all our seasoning. You see, we have to change up if we want to feed the masses. Yeah, we're no longer a 4-man operation. If we want to grow, now we need to be just like like a franchise. We have to have a system. And my husband's very particular. It's hard to let go sometime of control.
Let go of the reins a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. It really is, because it's your baby. You know how you love your cupcakes, your design, you know what I'm saying? Your way you have a certain technique and, and sometimes, unfortunately, we've worked in restaurant where sometimes, technique goes out the window. So we've been,
depending on who's back there. Yeah, it's depending on, but that's quality control right there.
Yeah, and we're very big on quality control, but now we're changing as well, because now we have to be more efficient, faster, quicker ticket times, and maybe, like you said, we got to instill that brigade system, but still
Mm-hmm.
keep the quality, because
Yeah.
that's what we want. We want people, I want people to come. I don't, I hate that stare. When we worked in corporate, you go to one Outback and it tastes this way. You go to another Outback, you're like, okay, wait a minute, they did something different, or,
Yeah. This ain't right.
so yeah, we don't want
Yeah.
that. We built our reputation in this area, and now, we're having good quality food, and we're going to try our hardest to stick with it.
Awesome. So where can we find you? What social media handles? Let people know how they can get in contact with you. You did say you guys are purely kind of catering now. So how can they get in contact with you to book, and where are you located?
Yes, we're right now located at 200 South Martin Luther King Boulevard in Daytona Beach. And on IG, you can find us at Saute Kingz, and the same for Facebook. Also, you can find me at Jessica Foreman, and my husband, Chef Count Foreman, on Facebook. But we are getting ready. Our food truck the last thing I got to do is get it wrapped. It's being inspected, so we'll be back out. So we're gonna call it the SKWTF truck is about to come out. So
SKWFT.
Yep. WTF. I'm sorry, WTF. Oh. But my husband was like, wonderful tasting food.
Nah, that's not it.
Yeah, so we're our concept for our truck, we're gonna keep the same. My husband is big about switching it up. Of course, we're in Florida. We love seafood, so we're gonna have lobsters. We're gonna have lobster, crab legs. We have a southern pot that we recently been putting out. Then we also, of course, like on a food truck race, we were doing like the fried rice, the hibachi. So we'll continue with that. We always gonna do chicken, shrimp, and steak. Add a couple of desserts. But my husband wants it to be more. He kind of follow food trends. He follow food trends. So we'll try to switch it up. Maybe a seasonal menu, or to him, it's like whenever he feels like cooking something or he get inspired, he's gonna put it out there. That's just point blank, period.
A rotating menu. I love it. Well, thank you so much again, Jessica, for agreeing to chat with me and sharing everything with me. I hope you guys got a lot out of it today. And if not, you can follow her and just watch their success journey and see what they got going on. And if you're in Daytona, you got the address, come and check them out. And when that food truck comes out, you should be following their page so you can see where they're going to pop up next.
Yes. And thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, thank you. Bye. If you are interested in turning your side hustle into a full-time business, click the link below and book your free discovery call. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.